I'm Stacy Grinsfelder.
And I'm Daniel Cantor.
And you're listening to True Tales from Old Houses, the second of two Momisodes. Hi, Daniel.
Hi, Stacy. What just happened?
How's puberty treating you?
Oh, God, it's rough. My acne's just going. Oh, this is off to a great start.
If you missed it, Daniel's voice did something very, very strange. What was that?
My voice, I think, cracked a little bit, and then I turned my chair a little bit, which hit my desk a little bit, which startled me, and then it cracked more. And that was a chaotic 5.5 seconds.
It was. All right. So would you like to... We're back. We're absolutely back. Yes. So I would assume aside from this second puberty that you're going through, everything is okay in your world?
Yeah. Do you think I'm going to hit a growth spurt?
I don't know. Well, you're taller than me, so that's the good news, right?
True. It's not, I hate to bring, it's not that hard to be taller than you, Stacy, but I will be thrilled to be 6 feet tall. I can't wait.
Well, we have the second of two Momisodes for you today. We're going to be talking to Daniel's mom, Ricki. But before we do that, I just want to say a quick thank you to our sponsor, Sutherland Wells. Thank you, Sutherland Wells.
Thank you.
All right, so Momisodes. Last week, we talked to my mother. It's kind of like going to your own funeral, where you hear, I better not say that. Should I say that?
I love it.
Okay.
You can say that.
All right. I was going to say, it's like going to your own funeral and hearing your obituary, hearing how your mother feels about you and the stories that she remembered. And yeah, it was fun. She had told me beforehand, she said, if I remember things differently than you do, then just tell me or stop me or whatever. But I didn't have anything to contradict there. We're not a high drama family, so we didn't have a lot to passionately correct.
See, my mom had none of that conversation. She was just like, my memory is fact. Okay, Mom.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah. No, I think my mom was a little nervous at first because I don't know. I don't know why she was nervous, but she was, so I was really pleased that she agreed to do that because I kind of sprung it on her. I picked her up from the airport and I was like, hey, Mom, I have this idea. Daniel and I have this idea and we wondered if you'd do it. And her first response was kind of like, oh, I don't know about that. So I said, well, think about it. You do not have to say yes. And I did not commit you. I just, give it some thought. So I was happy that she said yes after all.
Did I tell you what my mom said?
No.
She was like, all right, I have done this before. I'm like, pardon me, ma'am. And she's like, yeah, I've been on a podcast. I'm like,
really?
Since when? So yeah, she did some kind of interview for like my middle school has a podcast or something, and she went on it. She was like, I never listened to it, but I know it was on there. Like,
that's so cute. That is
okay,
so cute.
Mariah Carey, tell me more about your. Anyway.
Podcasting's all the rage because the elementary school here in my town also has a podcast, and they interviewed my daughter about gymnastics, and I thought it was pretty cute. Very, very cute.
Everybody's podcasting. What a world.
Well, things have been a little nutty here. Lots of projects going on. I thought we were going to have the bathroom started, but we had to put that off a couple of weeks. That was a big project that got shrunk down to a little project that may go back up to a big project. Too soon to tell, but I will be sure to report back on a Minisode what has actually happened in that bathroom. But it's just mostly a glow up when it comes to that bathroom. So I've been ordering tile and a sink and Sutherland Wells products to finish my wainscoting, just all kinds of things like that. Not a lot that I have to do physically, but just a lot of decisions and details and, everything from the little escutcheon. How do you say that? Escutcheon? I always say that wrong. Mm-hmm. Yeah, escutcheons?
Pretty sure it's escutcheon.
Okay. You know how some people can't say the word cinnamon? That's escutcheons is my word. Like, I cannot make my mouth say that word. But anyway, the short of it, after saying that word poorly, 10 times at least, was that just a lot of details, things that, oh yeah, I got to order that and I got to order that. Also worked on the sleeping porch and have just been waiting for a little bit, tiny little bit warmer weather so that I can paint out there. Wrapping up the windows for Silver Lake. I know I still have those. They're like 92% done. I'm almost there, but it's
That's
just one
good.
of those things. Yeah, it just keeps taking time. My buddy Dale was working on the front porch, the street side steps at my house, and he finished his work. It looks so good. Handrails are in now. I'm thrilled. I'm absolutely thrilled. It was just one of those projects that both looked bad and it was also a safety hazard. So it's really nice to have that out of the way. But other than that, I took a quick trip to Utah to visit my husband, Andy, and we hung out in the apartment and we saw Act 3 of a horrific opera.
Which one?
I couldn't even tell you the
Aren't
name.
they all kind of horrific in Act 3? I'm the wrong person to talk to.
Andy got tickets to the symphony. He really likes the symphony. He likes Beethoven. It was the Ninth Symphony, I think, Beethoven's Ninth. But what we did not know is that it was the second half of the program. And the first half of the program, it's this beautiful, beautiful music hall, right? So we go and we sit down and we realize, oh, well, it's not the symphony right now, but it's this opera. So we end up sitting there and we discover that it's the third act. None of us know what it is, so nobody really knows the story. You know, like not everybody knows opera, but I bet you if you heard the story of a couple of them, they've come up enough that you would be like, oh, okay, that's fine. No clue about this one.
What language is this occurring in?
Yeah, so I was going to get to that because here's the thing. It's in German. So all we know is that this is a story about a man who was accused of a murder or he lost his mind and actually committed the murder. I don't know. We come in on the third act in German. And there is a woman there, the soprano, the main character, right? And she's like doing this whole drama thing with this little boy. We know that it's not her son because they told us on the screen. It was just like this little orphan boy or something. There's always an orphan, right?
Right. A little cretin or whatever.
Yes. Yeah. So she's, dramatically hugging him to her bosom, basically. And then she's singing about it and he's holding some stuffed animal and then he exit the stage. So Andy and I are trying not to look at each other because we do not know what's going on. We have no idea. We've come in on the third act. So then the man comes in. He's the tenor or something, I believe. And they're very good singers. Don't get me wrong. They're very good. I've been waiting for you. Oh, hi, I'm so glad to see you. And then all of a sudden he breaks her neck or something. And then she's dead. And then he sings some more in German. And then at some point the kid that she was, hugging comes back on to the stage and there's a circle of children who are singing Ring Around the Rosie and then they bully him.
Okay.
But I don't know how, and I don't know why, and I don't know where any of them came from. And then he rides off the stage on a stick horse.
Sure.
And then the tenor comes back, sings a little bit more, and then it's over.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was your soul stirred?
My soul was not stirred. I mean, it was funny. I hate to say that, but it was like something about coming in at the end of a story that you know nothing about, that's in German, that is highly dramatic. And then what also feels very random. It was really something.
I love this. And I love that you're in sync enough as a couple to be like, that was weird. I mean, I have questions
Yeah, go for it.
Did you have tiny binoculars?
No, but we did have good seats.
Oh, okay. Oh, brag.
We didn't need the binoculars because our seats were so fantastic. Yes.
Right. I really love that, you were intentionally going to a symphony and then ended up at an opera. I was probably decked out on the sofa watching Sister Wives. So that shows you how we're different.
I would have watched that with you. You just got to make sure that you're feeding your brain lots of different things, Daniel. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, I've really learned a lot.
True Tales from Old Houses minisodes are supported by Sutherland Wells. All of Sutherland Wells products are handcrafted in Providence, Rhode Island, with the highest quality, sustainably grown tung oil. Tung oil, native to China, has been used for centuries as a durable finish for wood, metal, and stone.
Unlike polyurethane, tung oil finish penetrates the surface of the wood, so it flexes and contracts as conditions change, making it the perfect pre-finish or protectant for everything from fine furniture to window sash and sills. We actually had the great pleasure of interviewing one of the co-owners of Sutherland Wells, Rob, on episode 102. So for a deeper dive on Sutherland Wells products and all of their various applications, go check that out.
Absolutely, because Sutherland Wells has an entire product line for whatever you're working on. Right now, it could be siding, hardwood floors. I'm working on bathroom wainscoting. Maybe you're doing furniture restoration, cutting boards, you name it.
To learn more about the complete product line, visit Sutherland Wells, that's WELLES, sutherlandwells.com. And to save 10% on your first order, use the coupon code TRUETALES.
I'm excited that today is the second of back-to-back Momisodes, and today we're featuring your mother, Daniel.
Uh-oh, here she is, ready or not.
Hold on to your hats. You're about to learn a little bit more about Daniel Cantor.
My name is Ricki Cantor. I am proudly Daniel's mom and the mom of his twin Laura and the mom of his older brother Jeremy, and also a lawyer and do lots of nonprofit work.
Wonderful. Welcome, Ricki. So nice to have you here.
Thank you.
Hi, Mommy.
Hi, Daniel.
Thanks for coming on our show.
I got invited. Who could say no?
You're contractually obligated to say yes, actually.
This is all sort of surreal because we had these requests to do episodes with our moms, and earlier we spoke with my mother, and now you're here. And I don't know, it just feels funny to talk to our moms on the show. Not bad. It's not bad at all. It's just like a really funny request. And then, to hear about yourself through your parents is kind of a unique experience. So I guess I will start by asking you the same question I think that Daniel asked my mother, which is basically, did Daniel come from a family of old home lovers and DIYers?
Well, that's a tough one. I would say on Daniel's father's side, they did not come from a home of DIYers, although Daniel's grandfather on that side was a home builder in Danbury, Connecticut.
Great-grandfather. Dad's grandfather.
Dad's grandfather, right. Daniel's great-grandfather, I apologize. Daniel's great-grandfather was a home builder. And on my side, my father was extremely handy and did a lot with his hands, but not anything related to home building, and especially not old home building.
He was a car guy, primarily.
Oh, well, that's handy. Car guys are handy, let me tell you.
I think Mom got some of the car stuff. It definitely skipped my generation. None of us know anything.
All right. So the next question I would ask you is, when did you first observe Daniel's love for houses and DIY?
For interior stuff, it started pretty young. This was a kid who, we had one of those bunk bed situations where the bunk was on top, but you could take it apart. So there was a nightstand and two bunk pieces, and you could put one over the other, or you could angle one over like an L or V. And this kid would, like, every couple weeks just decide to rearrange his room completely. Like, things would come out in the hallway, go back into his room in a different place, and it was always a thrill to see what what he had accomplished with the same 4 pieces of furniture on another day.
That's funny that you say that because I actually used to rearrange my room a lot too, and my mom and I kind of forgot about that. When you said that, it prompted me because I was pretty young, and so I remember we had hardwood floors and I didn't have any rugs in my bedroom, so I would just like put the ends on towels and things and like scoot them around the house or scoot them around the room and change their position. But how old was Daniel when he was rearranging the bunk beds?
Elementary school. I'd say pretty young. And then there was the time I left town and came back to one of my bathrooms painted in my not so favorite color of green.
Do you remember this, Daniel?
Yes. Well, so my influence, I feel, spread from my bedroom and then it started to seep through the house. And so my mom, for some reason, like, let me pick paint colors sometimes. So like there was a time when we basically got the whole house repainted because it had been 10 years since we moved and whatever. And so I think I was responsible for the bright red living room, and I was definitely responsible for my bedroom, which I distinctly remember being a color called Van Gogh yellow, but I looked it up recently and I couldn't find it, so I don't know if they've discontinued it. But that was my exploratory phase of learning that what is on a chip will look very different than what is on a wall. So I thought I was doing this very like pale, soft, subtle yellow, and it was like a highlighter. And then the bathroom was kind of the same story. It was supposed to be this like sagey green, and it was like mint. It was not cute.
It was not cute. Mommy was not happy.
But did Mommy repaint it?
Never. I never ever repainted it. It got sold just like that.
Oh, that's so good.
Can I just say one other thing about when he started this?
Of course.
I was actually in real estate for a number of years, also looking at real estate, and he was the only one of my 3 kids who would be, oh, we're going to look at a house? Okay, let's go look at a house. Oh, by the way, there's a yard sale on the way and an estate sale on the way. We would go out to look like one house and we'd see, 5 stops along the way that we must make.
That tracks. That sounds like you, Daniel.
I was like the best little wingman.
You still love a good estate sale.
And a good open house. Nosy.
What is a story from when Daniel was little that shows who he's been all along?
There are so many directions to go with that question.
Should we stick with houses?
Keep it clean.
Or personality, his personality, or, how he connects with people, that kind of thing.
He's always been the charmer of the family. This kid has had every teacher wrapped around his finger, knows how to talk the talk, schmooze, make everybody feel comfortable. He's just incredibly lovable, and I used to have to tell teachers, no, when something's due, make it due for Daniel too, because if he tells you he had trouble getting it done, he's just charming you and has you wrapped around your finger. So please stop doing that. And that is a true story.
Deadlines are for everyone, Daniel.
Yeah. Agree to disagree.
This happened at a teacher conference.
And then what happened with that teacher, Mom?
Well, that teacher is actually still a dear friend to this day. And Daniel at that age was a little, testing the waters a little, not testing the waters in a bad way. It would take him a while to decide it was okay and you were going to be in his circle. And the teacher at the very first conference said, Daniel's been really quiet and I'm not sure he's, coming out of his shell in my classroom. And, maybe we can, do you have any suggestions on how to, work that? And I was like, yeah, be careful what you wish for. Because once he starts talking, you'll want to turn it off. So, he'll come out in his own time.
I was going to say how to get him to talk, stick a microphone in front of his mouth. That seems to work really well. And Daniel, I'm thrilled that it works for you because I so love doing this podcast with you. Thank you again.
That got you, Stacy. I was going to suggest the sleeper sofa incident, but maybe you've forgotten that one.
Oh no, that as we got a new sleeper sofa delivered 2 days ago, the sleeper sofa story is fresh in my mind.
Excellent. Let's hear it.
Well, we had Labrador retrievers, several of them consecutively over time in Daniel's growing up years. And I was out of town again, and the ball went under the sleeper sofa. And the dog would not give it up and proceeded to claw at and tear at the sleeper sofa until it was literally shredded.
Oh, no.
I came home. Nobody told me anything about this situation. It was down in a basement room. I probably didn't go down there for another, I don't know, weeks, months, who knows. And I went down finally and saw the sleeper sofa, and it had been stitched together Frankenstein style. It was corduroy, by the way, which is not easy to sew in the first place. And this had the corduroy pattern and these zigzaggedy stitches done clearly by hand. And I was super mad. And I think I probably, out of just sheer knowledge of my children, just yelled Daniel's name before any others because it had the marks of Daniel all over it. I can't imagine the other ones picking up a needle and thread. And I think he got in a little bit of trouble for that because at our house, I didn't really care a lot about what got done, but don't not tell me what happened.
Don't lie by omission.
Exactly. Just fill Mom in, tell me what happened. Nobody's going to get hurt. But the fact that I never knew it, never saw it until who knows how long after the incident, I was very unhappy with the cover-up.
Well, a big part of that, I think, was because my mom fairly immediately assumed that I just took it upon myself to reupholster the sofa, and then like halfway through was like, ooh, never mind, and tried to backtrack, which you can't do. And it took a while to like really convince her that like I was trying to cover for the dog. Like it wasn't my art project.
What color thread did you use? Did
Brown.
it match at least?
No.
Oh, not even close, huh?
It was like a tan couch, and I think the closest thread in the house was brown. So I was like, this'll be fine.
That was the first time you ever uttered those words, Daniel. It'll be fine. This'll be fine.
Don't worry about it, everyone.
Well, I want to hear the story. Daniel told us a quick story in the interview with my mother, and I want to hear it from you, Ricki. So the story he told us, the question was basically, how much is your child storing at your house? So that was the question that somebody asked from our audience. But Daniel told us that you actually sent a moving truck to his house with his belongings and some other things. And I want to hear how this all played out from your side of the story.
Wow. That's a big one. The truth is that, yes, I did send a small moving truck up to Daniel. First of all, he's the only one of my three with a home. So that's, a home that he owns and lives in and takes care of and all of that. Not that my other two are homeless.
Right.
Sometime after his grandparents passed, and there were several things that had come east from Chicago that were his grandparents, and some were landing here and some were intending to be moved on to him. And there were some fairly large art pieces that one could not easily like roll up and transport. It was going to be easier to transport on their frames. Did this happen just once or twice, Daniel? Because I feel like it might have happened twice.
It might have happened twice. Yeah, because, well, the time but I think I'm probably just combining the two, because you're right, yeah.
Because when we downsized, a lot went north also.
Right. Yeah, that was the first big shipment. You're totally right. And that was like all the stuff from my bedroom and my little cabinet downstairs and so many things.
Did you want that stuff, Daniel, or were you kind of like, I don't really need this?
No. And I was a little offended, like, oh, you don't want the bins of my preschool artwork? Like, what am I supposed to do with that? This is an offering to you.
Okay, to be fair, we've downsized and we're downtown and we have storage units down in the basement of the condo. We also still have an off-site storage place that has many things.
I thought we took care of that.
Oh no, I guarantee you there's at least 25% of that is probably still Daniel's.
No.
That's where all your really special preschool art is stored.
Is it?
All the hand turkeys from Thanksgiving and painted footprints from preschool, all of that's there. Yeah.
I mean, it was fun to go through because, like, it jogs memories. One day I came into kindergarten and there was just this huge dead fish. And we all just painted the dead fish and then, like, pressed a piece of paper over it to, get the impression of the fish.
Scales.
Yeah. And I still have that. And it's just what a grotesque thing to have kids do. But that's what we did in the early 90s, I guess. Oh, this is fun. I would like to ask if Daniel's mum, she must be British, shares the same design taste as Daniel.
Well, I would say 90% of the time, probably yes, because I've learned that I'm kind of not quite relying on myself anytime without saying, Daniel, would this be okay? Daniel, would that be okay? Daniel, what do you think of this color? Daniel, can I get these towels? I just wait for his clearance on anything. It was kind of stressful to be in Morocco and not be able to like send him photos of a rug I was buying. I don't think I've undone it yet so that he can actually see it in its full. Maybe holiday time this year.
Yeah, I want to see that rug.
Yeah.
Sounds nice.
I'm jealous. I wish that I had somebody that I could bounce. Well, I guess I could just contact you, Daniel. What do you think? Should I buy this? Should I buy that?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I'll do. I have somebody. What am I saying? No need to be jealous.
I'm great because I will tell you what I think.
Oh, that's perfect.
I don't want to indicate that his word is final. We recently had a whole thing about replacing a sleeper sofa, and he wanted me to do this far more contemporary futon thing that maybe was less sleeper sofa and more like just dramatic. And I was like, no, I'm buying a perfectly useful thing for somebody to sleep on, and that's its main purpose, period.
No fancy futon for you.
If it helps, I don't remember what the fancy futon was or was not, but I'm sure you made a wonderful choice, whatever it is. And I can't wait to sleep on it.
I have a question about Daniel's writing style. This is kind of veering off into a different topic, but what was the evolution of Daniel's writing style? Did he always have such a strong voice in his writing and communication? Are there any stories you have about that?
I would say Daniel has always been an incredible writer. I cannot think of a time that was a struggle for him. I think that comes from his father's side, and his mother taught English and writing to children in elementary school, and grammar and writing was always extremely important to her. She would type up long letters. She would write out long letters. Very, very much from that side of the family. I am not as good a writer as my son. I'm a legal writer, so my writing is very specific and to the point and not a lot of feeling. And his just has heart and always has, as far as I can remember. He has the sense of humor and always has.
I can't imagine being his mother. I think I just would have had to laugh all the time or at least hide my laughter.
He always had a lot to say, and he was very entertaining. very, very entertaining.
What was his teenage bedroom like?
Well, at that point of life, he owned a chinchilla in a cage. And the chinchilla, in addition to all the furniture that was this bedroom set thing, and a high-top desk, and lots of things that he collected. Yeah, a roll-top desk. And he collected a lot of things. He would just pick up a variety of things, and they'd end up in his room. But this chinchilla was a substantial size cage. It was a very large occupant of his room.
And a nocturnal one.
Oh, yes.
Oh, a nocturnal occupant. What was this chinchilla's name, Daniel, and how long did you have it?
Her name was Fidget. And what happened was, so when I was 7, we moved into a new house, and my older brother is a very... he does not have a high tolerance for things changing in his world. And so he was like devastated that we were moving. And so, of course, my sister and I sort of just followed his lead. And I think we probably didn't even care that much, but we deeply cared because Jeremy cared so much. So my parents basically made us 2 promises when we moved, if we would stop complaining about it. Number 1 was that we could each have a garden in the backyard, our newly larger backyard. I was kind of the only one that cared about that. And that we could all get our own pet. So I had a hamster first, and I was a very serious hamster caretaker. And then her name was Sophie, and when Sophie died, I had learned from probably Animal Planet about this exotic animal called a chinchilla. And look, Mom, they're so cute. And this is like early days of the internet. So I remember scouring the newspaper. There was a classified ad for somebody who had a litter of chinchillas in their like townhouse. And so we went and we got the chinchilla. He's so cute. And then we find out, like, I think kind of significantly later, that chinchillas can live for like 25 years in captivity. And that they're nocturnal, and that they're frankly like not great pets. Like they don't want to be like held and cuddled. Like they're not that friendly. She was very sweet in her own way, but yeah. So Fidget lived. I had Fidget from I think 5th grade-ish, 4th, 5th grade through when I left for college, and then interestingly. So to make things full circle, the teacher who was my 4th grade teacher, who was then my best friend, who is now the family friend, she by that time had adopted her daughter, and her daughter really loved Fidget, and so she adopted Fidget.
Oh, wow.
And Fidget got to live out a very nice life.
That's great.
Daniel's painting the best picture forward on this that he can. Actually, I had threatened Daniel about a year before he was leaving for college that I was not going to be taking care of Fidget, that it was his job to get this thing out of my house before he left.
Who brought it into the house, Mom?
And that did not happen for a year or close to it. While he was gone, I did, in fact, get stuck taking care of Fidget until I was overly desperate, and Melissa stepped forward and said, that would be a good first pet for Satina to have. So it moved happily out of our house.
It went to a new owner and lived out its happy life.
Exactly.
Dust baths and making so much noise throughout the night. Oh my gosh.
All right. Well, I have just 2 more questions. The first one is, when Daniel was little, or just generally as he was growing up, what did you envision his career would be?
Wow, that's a hard one. I would say definitely something artistic, something expressive. An artist, a writer. I don't think anybody had got the musical talent, so I'd take that off the list. No offense, Daniel.
I sing like an angel.
I'm sure you do in the shower. But yeah, He was always very busy and creating both in his mind and physically creating. So I think all along I would have said something creative. And I think when he went off to college, I was pretty sure he was going to write professionally.
A listener asked, what attributes do you think your child, that's me, possesses that makes them good at DIY?
I think primarily the willingness to try anything. I mean, I cannot think of a single thing that he won't say, well, let me see what I can do about that before I pull in a professional. Or I'll just study that on YouTube and take off and do it. The first example I would say of that was early on in his first house. He had a roofing issue and had somebody go up to do the roof, and they pulled off the shingles, and he sent a photo that was his feet looking down at a box gutter, and the box gutter looked like it was a box of toothpicks. It was completely shredded, and he wanted to know what I thought he should do about that. And I was like, oh my God.
Move. Move houses.
Call in a professional. Like, as somebody who had spent time in real estate, I knew what box gutters were, and that wasn't the way they were supposed to look. And I didn't think like building one from scratch was going to be maybe the best alternative. But no, Daniel's like, there's way too many of them on this roof. I'm going to build one and see how that goes. I was like, okay. And I think after that, he hired the rest, if I'm not mistaken. But he'll try anything once. And most times figure it out and do it just fine. And I think he did do it just fine. He just decided that was a lot of work, and leaving it to a professional was probably a better choice.
Yeah, that's basically what happened.
Daniel, did you notice that both of our moms had the same thing to say about us to that question?
Mm-hmm.
A willingness to try. That's what my mom said too. So my final question, and we got several variations of this, and we asked my mom the same question too, but the question was, how did you raise such a delightful human being?
I don't know. I did spend a lot of time with all of them. I think we provided, at least we tried to provide. It's hard to look back now and, glaring things might stand out as, boy, you really messed that up as a parent. But the results speak for themselves. And I think I have 3 highly responsible, bright, engaged, hardworking, attractive young adults. And I think they were given opportunities along the way to make choices and learn from their choices and make new choices and have consequences. And I don't know. And we always provided a lot of artistic opportunity. We actually had a room finished in our basement at one point that was basically an art room, and it was just a giant table and cabinetry on both sides that was full of paints and stickers, and I don't even know what all else. Daniel could give you the entire list because he probably organized it and reorganized it multiple times.
And labeled every drawer.
Labeled every drawer. But it was, I think it was a just place to do those projects and keep the mess contained, but, just go for it.
Well, let me commend you, Ricki, because Daniel is one of my very favorite people, and starting to work with him last season, it's just been a joy. So thank you for raising such an amazing human being. I appreciate it. The world appreciates it.
Thanks. I'm so proud of him and all his hard work, both for his properties and for the land bank. We always raise them to give back to society, whatever way they felt they could contribute. And I think he has definitely done a yeoman's job in that and makes us all really proud.
Well, great job, Ricki. And thank you so much for being here today, answering all these questions and being on the special Moms episode of True Tales from Old Houses. It's a joy for us to have you here.
Well, I can't wait to listen in my car. Like, I've become a podcast queen in my car.
Excellent. We like that.
I hardly ever put on music anymore. It's like, oh, I got to catch up with the podcast. I got to catch up with this.
Well, thanks for being a super fan.
You're welcome. It's a joy. Thank you. Thank you for asking Daniel to take part in this and have that learning experience.
Love you, Mama.
Thank you. Love you too.
Well, Daniel, it has been a lot of fun hearing from our moms, and I just want to thank all the listeners who suggested it. I don't think it's something that I would have even thought of on my own.
Oh, it was totally fun. Loved it. Loved every second.
Thank you for listening to True Tales from Old Houses, the Minisode. We'll be back with our regular episode next week. Until next time.